Action. All right, what's going on, guys? So with WWDC around the corner and the highly anticipated M3 to be announced next week, I wanted to take a look at one of the biggest laptop flops from Apple, or at least that's what we're made to believe. Make sure to join my live stream next week during the event. You know who else is going to be at the live stream? Our sponsor, nobody. Now, I've done plenty of reviews of the M2 laptops, from the Airs, the Pros, the whole SSD debacle, but what if I told you that the M2 lineup were some of the worst laptop sales from Apple? But how could that be possible when most tech creators, even myself, speak highly of the laptop and has been in the top 5 best-selling laptops for nearly a year? Now, with headlines like this, or that, or even this, it gives people the impression who are researching the laptop that the M2 MacBooks are terrible, but we're only getting half the story. The reality is, Apple shot themselves in the foot multiple times. But after doing some investigation, I found the shooter. It's this guy right here, M1, the breakthrough that Tim Cook talked about years ago.
Because today is going to be a truly historic day for the Mac. Today we're going to tell you about some really big changes. We're announcing that the Mac is transitioning to our own Apple Silicon. When we make bold changes, it's for one simple yet powerful reason: so we can make much better products.
Now, if we pull up the curtains a bit more, we notice sales from most manufacturers are down overall. But if we look closely, Apple has had the least amount of decline compared to their competitors. You know what else Apple had the least of compared to their competitors? Layoffs. That should get some praise. Now, make no mistake, Apple had extremely good timing with the release of M1 during the pandemic, when lots of people were working from home, attending classes from home, and everyone was just upgrading their computer if they had the opportunity to. Now that society is back to normal, it's inevitable that a decline was going to happen. People can't just buy the M2 Pro 14-inch just because they want something better than what they had a couple years ago. But hang on a second, why did I use normal in air quotes? There's no more mask mandates and we can gather in large crowds again, like sitting in traffic for 2 hours. Well, even though we aren't inside all day anymore, things aren't exactly normal. You see, the M2 MacBooks are fantastic machines, better than M1 in many instances. However, the entry-level model got an increase in its price, a $200 price increase compared to last generation. And with everything getting more expensive and people watching what they spend, a person might go, ooh, $1,200 for a new laptop is a lot of money. I might have to pass on this one. Apple made a product so good 3 years ago that people are still flocking to buy their older models, like this one, the M1 MacBook Air, or refurbished Pro models like this M1 MacBook Pro. Although I said this was M2, right? Well, it's because I lied. That's how similar the products are. This is actually an M1 MacBook Pro 14-inch. Or maybe you don't even know at this point. Could be M2, could be M3 for all you know. The point is, even though everyone isn't rushing to buy the new shiny Apple laptop, they are for their last generation, and that says a lot in the tech space. It's rare for me or another tech creator to say, hey, instead of buying the new HP laptop or the new Alienware laptop, go buy their model from 3 years ago. 3 years ago can be considered ancient in this space, and that's why, at least on Amazon, the M1 MacBook Air has sat comfortably in the first spot for nearly 3 years. It's just that good. It's hard for me to explain how good this machine is until you upgrade to it and go back to your old laptop and say, wow, this is a real upgrade. And if Apple decides to drop the M3 MacBooks and there is another increase in the entry-level price, this laptop is going to sell even better, and it's going to make the M2 MacBook Airs sell better as well, as long as they keep making it. So what are you exactly missing out on for the M1 machines over the M2 machines? Well, if we're just comparing the Airs, the display is the most obvious one. I've talked about the notch more than enough. It's there. You're probably not going to notice it within a week or so. Trust me on that one. The webcam is better since it's a 1080p camera versus a 720p camera. You get a better speaker system, the return to MagSafe, a more boxier design that resembles the 14-inch models and the 16-inch models, and an overall better processor. Now, this all sounds great, but why is M1 still the champ? To be honest, it might have sounded like I listed a bunch of stuff, but it's not really worth it all since the overall package of the M1 Air is already solid. I already told you that this is actually the M1 Pro 14-inch, but it's actually the M2 Pro 14-inch. And you probably don't even know because the difference between the two is so minuscule. The only two differences is that it has HDMI 2.1 and a better processor once again. So the difference in the Pro models are even less. And the enthusiast market has even of a less of a reason to upgrade, which can contribute to the decline in sales. Now, I've said it before and I'll say it again, but the M1 MacBook Air is the best value laptop by Apple in a long time. It might even be from a manufacturer in general. Not only is it powerful for most everyday needs, but what Apple needs to market even more than that is that there's no fan, no noise, nothing. It's a fantastic machine. And you see how much I'm talking about this M1 MacBook Air and how much value it brings for its price, that it's no wonder that the M2 laptops were a flop. The previous generation was just so good. The battery life is hard to compete with in this price range. Couple that with no fan, like I said before, being a legitimately quiet machine, there is no other laptop in the sub $1,000 category that can beat this machine. Don't even get me started about build quality.
With everything being pushed
People
out a
always
little bit
complain
further
about
with
their
this notch,
laptops sounding like a
now
nuclear missile going off. So, if you're in the market for a new MacBook and your budget is tight, the M1 MacBooks are solid. Matter of fact, I'm going to pull up the Apple website and go to the refurbished store. I mean, around $1,600 for an M1 Pro 14-inch rather than a $2,000 M2 Pro? For what? HDMI 2.1? You're probably never going to hook this up to another monitor anyway because the display is so good. It's their XDR display shrunken into a laptop screen. It's a mini LED display, and if you don't know what mini LED means, then it's better than your computer monitor you have at home that your job offered you. Now, I'm gonna wrap this video up with this. Processing power is important, but with more stuff being pushed onto the web and doing things within the web browser, or even connecting to a cloud instance, do you really need all that compute power locally? I mean, M1 handles most of the applications people need and is getting plenty of features and software capabilities that the M2 is receiving, so what are you really missing out on? Might be the new colors like Midnight or Starlight, but I'd argue just slap on a skin. It looks better anyway, and it protects it from scratches. The reality is, M2 was a small step for Apple, and M1 was a giant leap from Intel. That sounded so stupid, and I'm probably never gonna say something like that again. But regardless of which M laptop you get by Apple, for everyday users, it might be the last laptop you ever buy, at least for the next decade. So hopefully you found this video informative. Appreciate the sponsor for keeping the channel alive, Nobody. And as always, guys, much love. Here I am with 3 MacBooks, all doing their job. Now, I've done plenty of reviews of this laptop is about to die. It's a mini LED display. It's a mini LED, and power, not power, processor power aside. Dude, why can't I speak today? Blah, 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 blah.